So Pat and I have always helped people and brought people into our life. And we've always felt good to help people financially, personally, tithing with time, money, and value. Our mission is to help people and to in every aspect of their life that they need. And when you put that much time into being personal with people, it becomes personal.
Pat's been a big, big part of my life with my children. As a parent and leading through adversity and crisis, I call on him sometimes before calling anyone else in my family to give me advice and to guide me.
We've had two major downturns in this business since I've worked for him. He has gone above and beyond the call to take care of the employees that have been with him. I'm talking some real difficult times, and certainly in one way he's done it to help us financially get through the difficult times, and we're in one of them right now.
In 2023, I went through great challenges, some that could have changed my whole world with my family, with my friends, with my career. If it hadn't have been for Lisa Flood, and along with her husband, Pat, my life could have turned out very different today. I will always be grateful for my friendship with them and them stepping in and pulling me out.
Our approach to life and family and friends and our personal life is to just help anybody that comes into our life. It also is the same with our business life. We have dug in hard with hiring people that really might not have been hired, or helping people with financial problems, with deaths, with insurance, with anything that anyone would need, rehab. We don't shun our time, money, and talent on anybody. We believe everybody is worthwhile.
You have relationships with the people that you work with, and when they tag into you, pull you up, it's a relationship.
When you spend this many hours with people and their family and their friends, and you drink and eat and live with them and suffer with them, then it becomes very personal.
My family's known Pat and the Flood family for years. I've known Pat since I was about 8 years old, and he's had a profound impact on not only my life but my parents, kind of by proxy, my wife, kids.
But the difference, and the reason I made the choice that I made to stay with Pat, is because of the concept that he went at this business from the standpoint of serving others. He was a friend, he was a mentor, and he's just the best leader I've ever been around.
So, you do get joy in helping people. As much as you can get hurt, you get happiness, and that's what the giving is all about.
Basically, on February 18th of 2018, our life took a drastic change. My husband, Eric, had run a 10K the night before, or the day before. Everything was pretty normal. Took my daughter to a hockey game. I went out with some friends, came home late, ended up sleeping on the couch. And the next morning, he did not wake up. So Eric, at the time, was working for Supreme Lending. Pat was pretty sure he was running the Southeastern part of that company at the time. Eric has been with Pat since the home bank days. So even prior to starting with Supreme, he had been working with Pat for years. So his dedication to Pat and the company were definitely 100% there. Pat called me and the day's a little foggy, so I don't know if somebody called him first or to reach out to tell him what had happened or exactly the whole story, but he did call me that evening. And his first, kind of conversation with me was, don't worry, you and Riley are going to be okay. We're going to get you guys through this. At the time, my daughter was 6 years old, so very young. She was born with a congenital kidney issue, so my biggest concern was what to do about moving forward with insurance. Obviously, Eric had made most of our income, so I was a part-time speech therapist at the time, also being a mom. And when your world crashes down like that, it's kind of hard to figure out how to put the pieces back together quickly. So as weeks went on and days went on, Pat stayed in touch with me. He read the eulogy at Eric's funeral. And he sat down with me and said, we're going to work something out to keep you and Riley on the path you need to be on right now. So starting probably I'd say a month after that is when Riley and I would have gone off of health insurance and things like that. And Pat was gracious to offer me a semi-position with Supreme at that point to be able to keep health insurance and still provide for my daughter in the time being. I went on for actually 5 years. He could have told me from the very start, I'm so sorry. We love you guys. We wish we could do more. But Pat is now a part of our family. He gave me the ability to get back on my feet.
So many stories. I've been with Supreme now 13 years, I guess 13, 14. But with the group, with Pat, with so many other loan officers, we started back at Home Bank. So I started this business in 2007. So since then, has been so many stories and so many changes in my life, in a personal life. That's why I stick with this company, because I love the way that, your personal life is treated.
For me, number one, Supreme matches with my moral compass, if that makes sense. And so one of the major things is always, number one, being our best, and then serving others before self.
So before I worked here, I was a realtor and a starving artist, musician. In Nashville, newly married, struggling to make rent with my wife in this tiny little apartment in the coolest part of town, and I needed a lifeline. And I had some friends who worked here at the time, and I'd heard great things, and I made a phone call that basically changed my life the summer of 2019, and I never looked back.
When I started, it was 2009, so a long time ago. Really rough market, like it is now. Kind of funny timing, but when I had started, I worked as an intern for about half a year. Wasn't still sure what I needed to do with my life, what I wanted to do. My degree was in business administration, and an opportunity came up during that time for me to kind of pursue that field. And I took a chance on it. Wasn't in the mortgage industry, a separate kind of industry, but from the minute I walked in, after at least interning here and working here for a while, I knew that's not where I want to be. In fact, it's kind of funny, I told my supervisor that, I think the second week, that just so you know, this isn't going to be a long-term thing, because it didn't feel like home. And then thankfully, Pat called, and the market had started to turn a little bit, and I was able to come back.
I grew up in a community-oriented household where being a servant in the community is like our compass, right? That's just what I do. And so for me, it just matched. It felt natural to be a part of an organization that cared about others as much as, the business is here and we work, and of course we all come to work to get a paycheck, but the people really matter, and that resonated for me.
Of course, knows about what happened with Gabriel, but the same thing when he was going to Habitat for Humanity, and talking to so many people here at the office, it makes you feel special, because they were taking care of your son as well as you taking care of you. after what happened, the support has been, 100%. And that helped me out to endure this difficult time.
Well, I mean, it tells just in the day-to-day, right? You have upper management that truly checks in and says, hey, are you okay? What do you guys need? Staying focused on how the market is, and especially right now, the way times are, right? Knowing that you have a CEO that really plugs in and says, what do I need to do to take care of my people, my employees, right? It's important because other companies are cutting people, downsizing, but to know that you really have a CEO that truly cares and is giving of himself to his own staff and his own people to make sure that we're okay.
Money comes and goes, but what doesn't is the commitment to serve other people and to live in a way that regardless of the other underlying circumstances in your life, you continue to maintain an integrity, character, and a service of other people in all that you do. And I knew after having spent 7 years with Pat at Home Bank, that's the way we were going to proceed. And if we did so, we'd come out of the darkness and back into a better time, and we did.
Supreme's mission of serving others before self means to me that when you have someone that needs you emotionally, financially, in any way, that you're there for them, that you are there to listen, you're there to help, and you're there to support them no matter what that means in your life. It's
Absolutely contagious when everybody that you're working side by side with has that same attitude. It just creates a situation where you're doing it as a team and you're representing the company in a way that most companies just don't take advantage of.
So our mission at Supreme is to serve others before self. It is how I've based my entire career. It impacts my personal life by giving me a sense of accomplishment. Like I'm doing what I feel inside is the most important thing I can do. And that is bring value, bring care, bring humanity to humanity.
When you serve others before self, as I've learned from Pat Flood, it just creates a whole dynamic that flips the script and makes going to work every day a lot more positive. I think it's more positive for me as an employee, and it's more positive for the people around me who I serve. So it's made a tremendous difference. It's a whole flip of the thought process of what work is.
When I met Pat Flood for the first time, I realized he cared about people the exact same way that I did. And I saw an opportunity that I was going to be able to bring to people the kind of service I've always wanted to deliver.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and Pat did the sales meeting. And as he always did back then, he started the first 15 minutes of that meeting talking about serving others and nothing about the mortgage business. And he still does that to this day. And I left that meeting feeling like I needed to be part of this company.
I know what kind of job I can do. I'm a good loan officer. I need behind me a team that is better than I am. That when I throw the ball, I know that they're going to deliver it across the finish line and that they're going to do it on time. They're going to do it with care. They're going to do it in such a way that I'm proud. I'm so proud of the team that I work for.
I moved my family, including 2 young kids, 12 and 10, 1,000 miles from New England to start a new life here in Atlanta, all based on this concept of serving others before self and working for Pat to do that. And so I've worked for him now for 24 years without any interruption. And I know I'll never work for anybody else in this business.
I don't think I've apologized to anybody for the service we've delivered in the 10 years that I've been here. Things happen. Things always happen. Humans are involved. Things happen. When something happens to a Supreme Lending borrower, we all rally around them. We all rally around them and do everything we can to soften the misstep.
So everyone here collectively goes above and beyond, always. It's not just sometimes, it's not just once, it's always. It's evenings, it's weekends. The people here are truly your friends. And you can call them and just talk about what happened during your day, or you can call them over a weekend and ask them to hurry up and underwrite a file. And that makes a difference for how we serve our clients and our agents. And it means that those clients win because we're available and we will help them. And it's not that we have to be, it's that we all want to be. If I see people calling me over the weekend, I know they need my help and I'm gonna step up and help them. And that's just the way everything is here at Supreme. It's like being with your family. They're always here to love and support you.
And I tried a couple of different places, and this is where it's at. I wouldn't work anywhere else for $1 million sign-on bonus, and that's an absolute fact. The bigger the organization, the harder it is to turn a new channel. If you've got to be tenacious and do something a little extraordinary, and you're in one of the giant too-big-to-fail banks, you can't do it.
I feel like there's a negative connotation in society when it comes to mortgage lenders, that we're known for maybe not being completely ethical or playing smokes and mirrors with clients for our own pockets.
When I started with my other company, the first 2 files that I had out the gate with them, I needed assistance on. I went to my direct manager for help and looking over the files and getting it submitted and getting them approved. Instead of her helping me, she turned around and submitted the files herself underneath her name and ran with them.
Before I joined Supreme, my stress levels in this industry were astronomical. I felt the pressure of making sure that I met every milestone, making sure that everything came into a T at exactly how it needed to was all on my shoulders. The success or fail of that contract and whether or not we closed on time, whether or not that client had a great experience I felt was all my responsibility, because the teams that I worked with behind me didn't have the same morals and values that they were working towards.
When I came over to Supreme Lending, I got my very first deal, which was a rescue deal on a Friday night, super late. Contingencies were ending Sunday at noon. I had all day Saturday that I spent working on this file, all Saturday night, reaching out to everyone that I possibly could to get assistance and help on this. I needed underwriting to review this to make sure that we had approval before I sent everything out.
Because as lenders, we have to make commitments all the time. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z by X, Y, and Z time. And in knowing that if I made that commitment and I communicated that with my team, that I have a team here at Supreme, my processor, Jeannie, Dylan, my CSS, our closing department, and Ian, if there's a scenario where I need for them to help accommodate a borrower, everyone has the same mindset of jumping through hoops to get it done.
So Sunday, which was also New Year's Day, I got in touch with Jetta, who then I found out also had COVID, and she still continued to spend the whole day with me making sure that we had all the documents, that we had everything for approval, and was able to give me the approval that I needed to make sure that the client did not lose their earnest money. That is not something that just any coworker at any company is going to do for you.
When I joined Supreme, more than anything in my business, it was having the comfort that I had a team to support me behind what I was doing on a daily basis.
Because the only person who would spend their Sunday on New Year's Day with COVID helping you is a friend or family member, not a coworker. So for anyone who thinks that the grass is greener on the other side, that is only true if you're leaving another company to come to Supreme.
When you can rely on your team in a way during high stress environments like we have to rely on our team, and we all execute it in a way where we all have the same heart and desire in that execution, it creates a family dynamic that can't be broken.
So at Supreme Lending, if you tell me that it's just business, I'm going to take it personally.
Last night, I asked for an appraisal to be ordered, and it was 6:30 at night. 3 people jumped back on the email and offered to order that appraisal. It's insane. That wouldn't happen anywhere. At a big bank? Are you kidding? actually say that to my clients sometimes. I say, call if they're comparing me to another lender, say, call them on Saturday. Call them now. It's 5:30, 6 o'clock. Call them now. See if you can get them on the phone. You can call anybody on my team at any time of day and they'll answer their phone. It's incredible. The things that I can bring to people when I tell them I care about them and I know that we're going to get their needs met.
We work when you don't, because I know you've got a job to pay for this house. And that's just the nature of the business. And I think we dedicate ourselves even more here at Supreme to that cause.
Our operations team is stellar. I mean, just super phenomenal in terms of being able to manipulate, manage, overcome obstacles, to get a file done and to get it done on time.
As my role as a customer service specialist, we have several loan officers, most all, that can grab a loan that wasn't able to close with another lender, that we routinely close easily, on time, every time. The customer will always come first.
So I work very closely with my processor, Lori Bullock, who works crazy hours just like I do. We make all these promises, 8-day closings, a condo that nobody else can do. And the only way we can do that is by working late nights, weekends, every day, basically. So I've got to call Lori sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night to make sure this thing's going to get done by a closing at 10 a.m. the next day, or call her on a Saturday to, bother her walking the dogs. But she's sharp. She knows exactly what's going on. She's got it all packed in her head wherever she is, and she's working, even if she's not at her computer. It's in there, and she's sharp and ready to go. So, that's how we deliver on all these promises, is by working like crazy and taking this all very personally.
I had a client from Colorado who was very finicky, and he would not talk to anybody until he got off work, and he got off work at 8:45 p.m. in Colorado, which put our timetable at 8:45, 9:45, 10:45, 11:45 at night, midnight. I am okay talking to somebody at midnight. I don't know that I would be comfortable promising one of my coworkers to call somebody at 11 o'clock at night or 11:45 or midnight. I talked to Lori Bullock, who is my processor. She said, no problem. I talked to him at 11:45. She said, I've talked to him at 1:30 a.m. in the morning.
I'm able to walk into a place that I feel like I'm cared for, I'm loved, and I'm needed.
Wow. It's not just business, it's personal. Of course it is. Whenever you invest 8-10 hours a day, as we just saw, sometimes a lot longer than that, doing what you do matters. Who you do it with matters even more, because those 8 and 10, 12 hours that you're spending, they're shaping you as a human being. They're affecting you as a human being. And by the way, when you finish a day of business, which is very personal, you take your person home to your family at home. And everything that happened in the workplace has an impact on what happens at home. And the reality of it is, when I started a business, I always thought and hoped and prayed that we would create a business that someday my children would want to work at. Why? Because every single human being, including my children, they all want to be loved. They want to be challenged. They want to be encouraged, inspired. They want to belong to something, be a part of something that's bigger than just themselves. And that's what serving others before self is. It's being involved in a movement, the best movement in the history of mankind, because when it's just about business, it's about going someplace and trying to get something. We all need things, don't misunderstand, we do. But when we're involved in bringing our talents, our gifts, those unique parts of us to an environment, to a business environment, and then it connects to serving others before self, and we're involved with a movement, other people doing the same, we not only do work that's worthwhile, but we feel rich ourselves, and then we get to take that richness home to our family. And it's about an environment like this. We hope and pray that we challenge you to be the most exceptional version of you, your personal and professional best. So it's not just about business, it's personal. And that's why I'm radically committed to Supreme Lending, and that's why I'm going to defend this house.
I'm Lisa Flood.
I'm Sharina Pate.
My name is Laurie Bullock.
I'm Jimmy Bowler, and I am radically committed.
I am radically committed.
And I'm radically committed
I'm radically committed to defending this house.
To defending this house.
To defend this freaking house.